It's time to get down to business on TK Business Live, brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association. Now, let's join Tara Dimmick, owner and publisher of TK Business Magazine, as we take a look into the business world of Topeka, Kansas.
Hi, and welcome to TK Business Live. I'm Tara Dimmick, and it is great to be with you today. We have Alissa Menke joining us here shortly. She is the Vice President of Digital Innovation, the coolest name title ever, over at Jones Huyett Partners. And we're going to talk a little bit about this constantly changing online world that is so hard to keep up with, and find out some advice from Alissa. She is great, and this is definitely her area to find an expert in. So I'm looking forward to getting some advice maybe for my own business as well. We're also going to be talking with Diana Ramirez. She's the owner of Express Employment Professionals right here in Topeka, as well as the location that's in Emporia. That Emporia location has now been open for 3 years. It's amazing to me. I remember when, I guess my daughter would have been born when it opened. And so it sticks strongly in my head as she was getting that operation going and moving forward with it. So we're going to talk with her about this cool event she's got coming up. It's a simulcast, and it's going to be right here in Topeka. And it's all about leadership. It's called Refresh Leadership. And she's going to tell us more about it and how you can register to go to it and learn more about what this Refresh Leadership event is. I have Alissa Menke here with me, and she is the Vice President of Digital Innovation over at Jones Huyett Partners. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It is great to have you. I love having you on the show, and we'll have you back several times because we're going to talk a lot about different things that are going on online. And gosh, it's just, technology is changing, but it is so hard to feel like you can keep up with what companies are doing. So, I really want to hear about, what is going on online that we should be aware of. What is happening in that online world?
The internet is always changing. Social media is changing. The way that people are using the internet's changing. And more so than ever before, you can't rely on the way that you've always done things. Even in the digital world. Okay, so 5 years ago, for the most part, I could reach my audience if I maintained a really good Facebook page. I had a basic website, and I ran maybe a display ad campaign on my local newspaper or TV stations' websites. But now, between ad blockers and the way that Facebook's really wrenched down on the amount of organic reach any of my posts get, and then the way that people are using their phones to get to websites, if you haven't adapted with these changes now, you're not reaching anywhere near what you had been before. So we're really talking about this year making sure that your digital offerings and the ways that you're getting in front of people are a lot more diverse than they've ever been. If you have a Facebook page, continue to push content out there, but realize unless you throw money behind it, you're probably only reaching, 10, if you have a really engaging page, maybe up to 30% of your actual Facebook fans. People have said, yes, I want to hear from this brand. And you're not reaching anyone beyond that. So you need to start considering throwing money behind it. Moving on to your website, a regular website that's got this great desktop experience, if it doesn't translate to mobile now, you're late to the game because so many people are accessing the internet on their phones.
And only.
A lot of times it is only on their phones, particularly, some target audiences. If you're looking at, I'm a great example of this. I'm a millennial mom. I have a desktop at work that I'm doing work on. I don't get to do just leisurely internet browsing at work. All that happens on my phone at home and those little micro moments where I get a breath of fresh air. I don't have a kid, tugging at my pant leg wanting something. So I'm doing almost all of my shopping online, but all through my phone. I'm doing all of my news consumption on my phone. So you need to make sure that your website is something that has a strong mobile presence and is easy for me to read and to navigate. And if you don't, you're going to lose out on a significant chunk of potential customers for your brand.
Yeah. I was just telling Alissa before we came on that the TK website was slow when we launched the spring issue, and it was devastating to me to watch because I knew every second that it took to load was seconds that people were turning it off. They were moving on because They weren't going to wait another second.
We are a society of a super short attention span and instant gratification. Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't load,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I have to move on to the next thing. And then the other thing that people are becoming more and more savvy about, and these aren't new, but they're easier to get to. People know more about them, is ad blockers. Traditionally, they were on your desktop machine. You set it up through your browser so that none of those, annoying display ads or video ads would start playing or show up on your screen. It presented sort of a cleaner content front. But those are now rolling out to mobile experiences as well. And it's just one of those things where, in the past, that general buy would allow you to reach, a certain amount of people. And now, because of these ad blockers, these are folks that are never going to see your ads. So you can't just rely on those display ads that you historically had. You can't even rely necessarily on a search ad. You need to start thinking about other ways that you can get in front of people, native content where you've gone out and you've generated this piece of content that supports your brand position, but isn't your basic, visually appealing, high designed ad. It is maybe, strictly copy. Things that have more entertainment and provide more value for the reader. The reason people download and use ad blockers is because they're tired of crappy ads.
Right. And tired of being sold.
Yeah.
And they want more of an authentic experience is what I keep. I mean, even when my own personal experience, if it feels authentic, if it feels like I'm going to be motivated or inspired, then I'll let somebody sell me something.
Yeah, I want something that shows me the person that was buying the ad understood who I am enough to show me something that was relevant. I want something that is aesthetically pleasing and that the message is on point. I want something that provides some value to me and is not just a hard sell. And, all of those things can be achieved through a really strategic buy. But at the same time, if I go back to just buying the typical display ads, no matter the level of targeting and layers of filtering that we put on there, if I have an ad blocker in place, it'll never come through to me. So again, it's about taking that step back from a digital standpoint and really looking at the landscape of all the things, all those touch points, to evaluate, are you still hitting the audience the way that you did, 3, 4, 5 years ago? And are you hitting them as frequently and with the messaging that you want to? And if you haven't made changes in the last year, I'm going to put money down that you're not there yet.
Right. Well, you've missed the boat because it's moving faster than you can. I mean, it's moving faster than I feel like I can keep up. And I am focused on it. And it still feels like I missed it. Oh, my gosh, that's moving so quickly. The Facebook change where, what you just talked about with organic, if you're not paying for it, they're not seeing it. So I have a question for you because I'm going to get some advice here. So what I see it's still important to post. So it's still important to post because you're trying to stay relevant and then trying to figure out then what do you boost? Because you can't boost it. Well, I guess you could boost it all. But do you boost it all?
No.
Okay,
No.
I boost what I feel like needs to be shared.
Yeah, I think you have to be really strategic about the things that you boost. Boosting things puts your brand out. In theory, I guess you could make the selection so that you're just hitting your fans, but in theory, it reaches beyond your fans. So you want to make sure when you're boosting something that it is the representation of your brand that you want out there in front of people that maybe don't already have a relationship with you and would subtly invite them back to potentially, like your page. I don't think that you want to boost too much because just like anything, when people hear from you too often, one, they stop listening, and two, at some point, they just straight up turn you off. Things that are going to be naturally engaging, I am not quite as likely to boost because the nature of the engagement will increase the amount of people that it'll get to organically. Additionally, if I know that something is likely to be shared, or, sometimes we'll build things with the strategy that, upon this being published, we know that we have a whole network of people that are going to go out and share it because it's content that resonates with them and is important to them and potentially serves, different things that they already have going on. And so those I'm not as likely to unless I get a day or two into it and see it's really not picked up the traction that it needs to.
So is there anything negative? I'm more just curious about this. Now that people are starting to understand how boosting works, that comes with them seeing a post that says sponsored.
I don't know that there's anything negative as long as you're doing it. I mean, again, it kind of takes that step back of, are you providing an ad that is worthy of their time and attention? If you're just taking the ad that you had, previously ran in a newspaper or ran in a magazine, or for that fact, a graphic that maybe was on your commercial on TV, if you're just slapping that in, you will end up doing more detriment to yourself in the long run because it's not going to perform well. But
that's what businesses are doing, right? The ones that don't really know how to be authentic and they don't know really how to have time to spend it on the social media side, they're doing a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, I would really say if you're going to throw money from your budget to push something out on Facebook, really stop and take 2 hours to do a little bit of research. I mean, to me, the social space is so much more about storytelling. And, it is like the exact opposite of your typical sales thing. If anything about your post comes across as being salesy, it's going to rub people the wrong way. And that's not to say that there's not a time and a place for that, but one, particularly if that's the only things that you're boosting, it's not going to do anything for your brand. It needs to be a nice mix. I mean, it's just like anything. You don't want to constantly be sort of that talking head that is just pushing product. The glory of social media is that it gives people a chance to understand your brand at a different level. The culture and environment in which your employees come to work every day, and the values of your brand and the ways that you get involved with the community. And those kinds of things we know have an impact on the likelihood of someone like changing brands and migrating to yours, and then how long they'll stay with your brand. There's a lot of brand loyalty, particularly when you're looking at a millennial audience. If you can talk about the ways that you are working towards a cause or you're giving back and making the world a better place. I mean, Tom's shoes is the perfect example. It's not like their shoes have any significant, design characteristics or style or, whatever that is, just out of this world different than your average pair of shoes. But because of their initiative of giving back and sort of that good vibe, that goodwill, it's had a huge pull and it's done so well for them.
Well, and you talked about the millennials and the power, and I've heard this talked about a lot just recently, but the power of them becoming basically your sales force. They will sell everything you have. If you market to them correctly and they become your champion, they will champion you right through success.
Absolutely. A millennial is all about, the thing that's always kind of, I am a millennial. It gets a little bit irritating to me when people would always say like, oh, you're such a selfish generation. We want to make a difference. We want to be helpful to people. And it may not necessarily be in ways that resonate as well with other generations. But when you look around at the way that we are growing up and how we're starting to raise our children, you'll see that we really are very socially conscious and we really do want to make a difference and want to be a positive influence in the world and are very likely to go out and actively be an ambassador for something that we believe strongly in. And so it is all about just like reaching out, particularly on a digital, space, because that's where we're at. And letting me understand how your brand, works outside of, hey, here's this great pair of shoes and, for the next 24 hours, they're on sale for a third off.
Right. It's not a coupon anymore.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We enjoy a good coupon. We like sales. But that's not the end all be all anymore.
Right. Okay. So we could talk about this forever. So I'll have you come back and we'll talk some more. But before I let you go, talk a little bit about, I know I love this arena. I think this arena is fascinating. I've done more research in it over the last couple of years than I ever want. I've never thought I would ever spend this much time on it. But you can't not. You can't not.
Yeah, I mean,
if you're in marketing, you can't choose to not.
It is the gorilla in the room.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're choosing to just ignore it, I mean, by now you realize it's not going away. Facebook is no longer an option that you can choose to ignore. If you're not in search, you've got to be involved in search, because at the end of the day, that traffic that comes through search is your, ultimate. They're right there. They're ready to make that decision. They're doing their last minute, research on the internet. They're ready to click buy. You got to be there. There are so many different facets of digital marketing, and new ones are popping up all the time. And so, it's really important. You don't have to spend tons of time on a regular basis, but I think it's a good idea to just check in and, reach out to TK Magazine and look at the blog posts that you've got going there. Reach out to your friends that maybe have a better understanding of digital. Jones Hewitt Partners, we do some things, that's pretty much what I do every day. Follow us online and just find those little nuggets so that you can start, building out your digital plan. And again, it's all about making it more diverse than it's ever been before. It's very much like back in the day, you used to be able to put an ad in the Sunday newspaper and run on one TV station, and you could cover, this local DMA, and everyone knew who you were. Anymore, that becomes so much more difficult because you've got people that maybe don't even have any level of local TV. They're doing everything via the internet. Or me, I couldn't tell you the last time I touched a printed newspaper. Mm-hmm. I read the paper every day on my phone. I get push updates through my email, on Facebook, but I'd never see your printed ad.
Right.
So it's all about staying on top of the times and having a really diverse set of touch points on your digital behalf.
Yeah. It is a puzzle that is very difficult to figure out. So you mentioned JHP, so I want to give it a chance just to, how do they get to your website? How do they get to the blog? Because you have a great blog going on that they can read. A little more information about JHP, because I know that when I start hearing this, it becomes this muddled mess of like, where do I even begin? And you guys can help with that.
Yeah, we can. So jhpadv.com is our website. Along the top navigation, you'll see a link that'll take you directly to our blog. I would say we blog about things digital probably on a monthly basis, if not more. And one of the things that's coming up, I'll start teasing it now, I guess. Hopefully within the next month or so, we're going to be launching a weekly podcast. Super, super short. We're talking 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes tops, where we will pick the main digital topic of the week and give just a short snippet so that you don't have to be doing all of the daily reading about, what's going on in Facebook. Should I figure out Snapchat? What does this mean? Come to us, listen to that short little podcast. You're going to get that little, nibble of information that you need so that you can feel like you're on top of things without investing, a couple of hours a week in reading, which is what I do.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Alissa. It was great having you. Mm-hmm. And we will have you back because I want to talk about more stuff, and we've got plenty of topics when it comes to online marketing and online media. All right. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
What is TIBA? TIBA is advice and support. TIBA is information and education. TIBA is a voice for small business.
My name is Tim Royer, and I work for Fidelity State Bank and Trust as a commercial officer. TIBA is an association of independent business owners. We're grassroots, and we're, again, looking to grow the community, looking to grow our business or the individual's business, and they're willing, again, to share. The people that are involved are willing to share their time and their talents and their experience.
The Topeka Independent Business Association is strong because of its members. Become a member today by visiting TopekaTIBA.org.
I have Diana Ramirez joining me, and she is the owner of Express Employment Professionals, both of Topeka and Emporia. Welcome.
Thank you.
It is great to have you, and I want to talk more about Express Employment Professionals, but first let's talk about this Refresh Leadership event that's coming up actually really soon.
Yes. We have a training. We will be having a training session, and it is called Refresh Leadership Simulcast. It is going to be Wednesday, April 13th at the Ramada Inn downtown. And we have three really great speakers that are going to be joining us live from one of our other Express offices. And this is our 4th year. We've been doing this. The last couple of years has actually been held out of our Emporia office. But
we were a part of the first year, though.
Yes,
it was great. It was held at the library.
Yes.
Really great information, stuff that inspired and motivated you. It was fabulous.
Yes. So this year, the 3 speakers that we are going to be showcasing, and the first one is Marshall Goldsmith. He's an author, professor, and an executive coach. The second one, which is going to be a familiar name to many folks, it's Shaquille Shaq O'Neal, of course, television sports analyst and 15-time NBA All-Star. Going to talk to us about leadership and being on a team. And then our third speaker is going to be Kaplan Mowbray, and he is an author, motivational speaker, and career consultant. He's going to discuss the 10 L's of leadership.
Oh, that's great. So who should come to this? I mean, is it employees? Is it who do you recommend coming?
I would suggest anybody that is in a leadership, a supervisory role, an HR professional, a CEO, CFO, president of a company, and it doesn't matter whether it's small or large.
That's great. And how does it work? Because we're going to the Ramada, but it'll be kind of it's a simulcast, right? Where you're watching it on video and everybody else is watching it as well.
Yes, and it's going to be held across the country through all of our other Express offices. So it is actually live. We just don't happen to have the folks here with us.
But it's live.
But it is going to be live. And there will be an opportunity from our location to ask questions.
Oh, how cool.
Yes.
That's really exciting. Okay, so how does someone register for this? How does that process work?
You can register. There's 2 ways. You can either go to our website, which is refreshleadership.com/live, and that's through Express Employment Professionals. Or you can call the Express Topeka location at 785-267-2773, or the Express office in Emporia, Kansas, and their number is 620-208-7767. So we'd be happy to register for you, or feel free to go to online and do it yourself.
I also noticed on the flyer there's a hashtag Refresh Leadership. So I guess if you're on Twitter, there's probably some different things going on with Refresh Leadership with that hashtag.
That is correct. You could go and it would be # Refresh Leadership, and that'll get you there as well.
That's great. Okay, so who is kind of behind this? I mean, obviously, Express is behind this and doing all that stuff. But you said you had some sponsors, and I know we're part of that.
Yes, this is possible in bringing this here to our communities because of TK Magazine, and in addition, Entrepreneur and Minority Business Development Department. They are a department, a division of Go Topeka.
Yeah, they're doing great stuff. I just love what Glenda Washington is doing over there and what's happening. I know you've probably heard about all the small business initiatives.
Yes.
It's exciting to hear what's going on.
Yes, and this is, again, ideal for small entrepreneurs and small businesses who are in business or who are thinking about business.
All right, so thinking about that, is there a cost to this?
I've decided, along with my sponsors, that this seminar is going to be free of charge.
So you have no reason not to be there, right? I mean, there's no reason.
That's right. And the other thing I might add to all of the HR professionals who have to and are required by their companies to have additional continuing education, this training session qualifies for CEU credits.
Wow, that's awesome. I didn't realize that.
Yes.
That's a powerful little extra to validate this even more.
Absolutely. One of the things Express is committed to is the fact that any training that Express ever does in our communities is always going to have the additional credits available, the CEU credits. So we're very proud of that.
That is fabulous. Okay, give me just a few more logistics on this, and maybe a couple of them are repeat logistics, but the date, the time, when they should come in to register, and then let's mention again how to get registered.
Very good. The simulcast is going to be held Wednesday, April 13th at the Ramada Inn downtown. We're going to start registration and check-in and plus serve breakfast between 8 and 8:50. The simulcast will start immediately at 9 o'clock. We will then hear the first speaker. We'll take a little bit of a break, and then we'll hear the next two speakers. And we should have you out of there about 12:30.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, and then go to refreshleadership.com/live, or you can call the Express offices. So give me the Topeka and the Emporia locations again, their phone numbers.
Yes, our Topeka phone number is 785-267-2773. Our Emporia Express office is 620-208-7767.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about Express Employment Professionals and the continuing education, but tell me a little bit more about what Express Employment Professionals is, what it does, and even the relationships that you build and help support through a community.
Well, what I can tell you about Express Employment Professionals is the fact that we have the best of both worlds. Myself, as a franchise owner, I'm locally owned business. However, I have as a franchisee, I have corporate support. And what that does for me is gives me the opportunity to provide the best resources for our community. We all know we want to ultimately employ as many people as we can. We have different service lines that we can help individuals. Our clients, we have different lines for our clients on what they can do for us. If we can't do it, I'm just a phone call away. I can call my corporate office. So we truly get the best of both worlds. We are the largest staffing company in the world. There are 750 franchises.
Wow.
And as a privately owned staffing company, we, again, are the largest.
That's incredible. Okay, so how can someone get more information about, we talked about the refreshleadership.com, going and getting tickets or reserving your spot. How about for Express? How do we get more information about that for Topeka and Emporia?
Well, if you go to our website, which is expresspros.com, and you can select any city or state that you're interested in. Of course, we would love for you to select Topeka and Emporia. That will allow individuals to do an online application. In addition, on our website, if you're a client who is looking at hiring us to do your recruiting, there's a lot of additional information about what we do and what we're going to stand by. Very informational, but I would love to speak to anybody about our services, and so I can be reached at either number.
Great. Diana, it was so great to have you on the show, and I'm so excited for the Refresh Leadership. And again, no one has any reason not to do this. This is such a great opportunity for not just continuing education and getting that acknowledgement, but also because this is something that you can send your employees to. This is something that there's no reason not to take the opportunity to get this free educational resource.
That is correct.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and for everything you're doing to put this on for the community.
Thank you.
Thanks so much to my guest, Diana Ramirez, who we just talked with Express Employment Professionals. Go to refreshleadership.com/live and get registered right now to go to that event. I think you're going to get so much out of it, and who doesn't want to hear Shaq? So the good old Shaquille O'Neal, it's going to be great to hear his words as well as the other speakers that will be in the simulcast for Refresh Leadership at the Ramada on April 13th. Also, thanks to my guest, Alissa Menke. It is so fabulous having her, and I'm looking forward to having future interviews with her. We've already got those all lined up so that you can hear more about how to really get ready and getting that strategy together for your digital media, making sure that you're out there in a way that people are going to receive it well and come and listen and want to buy your product. Thanks so much for joining us, and a big shout out to the Topeka Independent Business Association. Go check them out at Topeka, TIBA.org. Have a great week.
Thanks for joining Tara and her guests on TK Business Live. Join us again next Sunday at 11:30 to hear more from our community business leaders, entrepreneurs, and people making a difference in the landscape of how business is progressively moving forward in Topeka. TK Business Live is brought to you by the members of the Topeka Independent Business Association.